Hello, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to another video. And without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Cowboys cut ties with former 17-game starter. The Dallas Cowboys are continuing to shake up their defense in whatever ways they possibly can. Trades, bringing back players from injuries, or now even cutting loose former starters. The Cowboys parted ways with former 17-game starter and inside linebacker Dion Clark on Tuesday, November 18th, just one day after a 33-6 win over the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday Night Football, in which the defense looked competent for the first time this season. And with Clark out of the lineup, Clark was one of three players released by the Cowboys on November 18th along with center Wesley French and tight end John Stevens. Clark was in his fifth season with the Cowboys, who drafted him in the fifth round, number 176 overall, out of LSU in the 2022 NFL Draft. He started 26 games in his time in Dallas, including all 17 regular season games in 2023 when he had a career-high 109 tackles. Dallas head coach Brian Schottenheimer sent Clark away with an encouraging message, which was probably cold comfort for the 25-year-old free agent. "I told him, 'Your career is just getting started,'" Schottenheimer told Joseph Hoy of the Dallas Morning News. "Sometimes change is good. I really believe that it's not bull exploitative. He means a lot to me, and this gives Damone a chance to find a new home." The Cowboys had the 31st ranked defense in the NFL headed into Week 11. And you could make an argument that no position group on the entire roster was worse than inside linebacker. All of that changed over the last few weeks, which ultimately led to Clark getting his walking papers. First, the Cowboys traded a 2026 seventh-round pick to the Cincinnati Bengals in exchange for inside linebacker Logan Wilson. Then the Cowboys brought heralded inside linebacker Demarion Overshown off of injured reserve ahead of schedule. Overshown, who missed his entire rookie season in 2023 with a torn ACL, had a breakout season in 2024 before tearing his ACL, MCL, and PCL in Week 14 against the Bengals. Overshown wasn't expected back until a Thanksgiving Day game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Instead, he was on the field for the win over the Raiders, making one TFL loss in a limited amount of snaps. With Kenneth Murray Jr., rookie Shamar James, and Maris Lufau essentially a three-headed inside linebacker at the third spot along Overshown and Wilson, the Cowboys now suddenly seem like they're on solid ground. Moving forward, don't be surprised to see James take Murray's spot as the starter alongside Wilson and Overshown. Cowboys Jerry Jones makes strong George Pickens statement as free agency nears. It's no secret by now that the Cowboys scored themselves a star when they landed George Pickens in a trade with the Steelers this offseason. Dallas sent out a 2026 third-round pick and a 2027 late-round swap for Pickens, and the payoff for the offense has been enormous. Pickens now has 98 yards receiving in 10 games in Dallas with a career-high 7 touchdowns. He was especially impressive on Monday night in Week 11 against the Raiders, a game that turned into a Cowboys blowout, a 33-6 win. Pickens caught 9 passes for 144 yards and a touchdown on the night, the third time he has cracked the 100-yard mark for Dallas this season. And of course, every time that Pickens puts forth a big game, it raises the question: the Steelers were willing to give him up because they did not want to pay him when he hits free agency next off-season. But will the Cowboys shell out to keep him on board? Fortunately for Dallas, there is time to figure out the approach to Pickens and his future. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is ultimately the decider when it comes to his star receivers' future. And Jones's comments after Week 11 did catch some attention. He had unusually descriptive praise of Pickens. Pickens was, "I've never seen a performance like that," Jones said when asked about the play of Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. "It was poetic the way that he was making those moves out there and doing it. It was like he was in an opera or something going on out there, a ballet. But I am proud for both them. They played really outstanding today." As it stands, Pickens will be with the Cowboys through the rest of the year with 3 possible outcomes ahead, all of which would yield some positives for the team going forward. The Cowboys could and most likely will use the franchise tag on Pickens, paying him $28 million to stay on board next year. The Cowboys could give Pickens a long-term contract. That would be another outcome, but using the tag would allow them to keep Pickens for one more season at a relative bargain price. Or the Cowboys could simply let Pickens walk, which is not ideal given the way he has fit with the offense, but it would produce a compensatory draft pick, so the Cowboys would not lose him empty-handed. Cowboys legend has suggestion to replace defensive coordinator Matt Everfluss. After 9 weeks of struggling on defense, the Dallas Cowboys went into their bye week and added more talent. The Cowboys picked up defensive tackle Quinn and Williams in a trade with the New York Jets and linebacker Logan Wilson in a deal with the Cincinnati Bengals. They made their debut on Monday Night Football in Week 11, as did linebacker Demarion Overshawn and cornerback Siobhan Revel Jr., who had been out with knee injuries for the first 10 games. Dallas also had safeties Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson back, which led to a much better showing against the Las Vegas Raiders. That performance has given the fan base a glimmer of hope, but one former Cowboy thinks they still have to move on from defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Des Bryant was watching the game and said if he was Jerry Jones, he would still move on from Eberflus and go after Al Harris. If I were Jerry, I would respectfully go in a different direction than DC Eberflus, not because he's a bad coach. I would offer Al Harris the DC job and let him find his defensive support. Bryant wrote on X, "You have to be the best at what's current." Harris joined Ben Johnson's staff this season, serving as the Chicago Bears defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator. Before that, he spent 5 years coaching defensive backs in Dallas. During his tenure with the Cowboys, the Dallas secondary was among the most feared in the game. With him gone, they've been suspect at best. While the Bears have the NFL interception leader in Kevin Bard, the veteran safety has 5 picks, but he's not the only one excelling in Chicago. Nazhan Wright, a former Dallas draft pick, is right behind him with 4 interceptions. That's not a shock for Cowboys fans who watched as Harris helped Trayvon Diggs record 11 interceptions in 2021 and Darren Bland secure 9 interceptions and 5 pick-sixes in 2023. Bringing him back would excite fans and could help the secondary get back on track.